even in the IT support space, I think when we first started working with them, we actually had no idea how many of the big sort of consultancies in our space they supported. We've been with them right from the start. So we set up in 2013 and it was just three of us at that stage. And we've been with them, from that moment right the way through, basically. So we sold the business in 2019. So we became part of a wider group, which is, essentially that's why we're sort of transitioning away from them at the moment. I mean, it's not our choice. It's just one of those things that, we have various different agreements during our earnout, which meant that we could kind of retain control of our IT, which we did despite repeated attempts to make a switch, because we're very happy with the support that we got from Cubit. But now those protections are ending, basically. We lose any choice in the matter. When it was the three of us, we didn't even have an office at the stage where we engaged with Cubit. So we were literally working from the basement of a Starbucks. And the business has grown now, so it's about 9 million in turnover. We've got 40 plus people based over 2 offices in London and Brussels, but obviously with a lot of remote working as well. And I think just on that level, the support requirement has changed, and it's been great that Cubit have been able to kind of flex their support to reflect that and reflect the change in need that we had. I mean, I think one of the things which really attracted us to Cubit, I guess there were 3 things really. I mean, first of all, we got a recommendation from another business that had used Cubit and had been very happy with them. Secondly, it was about the flexibility. So, at that stage, if you cast your mind back to 2013, it sounds stupid to say this now, but storing your files on the cloud felt like sort of science fiction witchcraft, basically. And we were very much at the stage where we wanted to build an approach to IT which was going to endure. And actually what they did was they came back to us with, a bespoke combination of products, basically cloud products, which would enable us to work effectively. So it was a really good example of how pragmatic they were. The third aspect was just cost. The fundamental needs of the business are actually similar. They're just on a different scale. We're a consultancy. Our business model is relatively straightforward. For me, obviously, the big transition that happened during all of this was the pandemic, and actually, it affected us all, but clearly, it affected Cubit as much as anyone. And actually, we didn't really observe a blip in their support, which was fantastic, for us. And a large part of their support has always been remote, because we were a small but fast growing company. We moved offices a lot. I think in the first 4 or 5 years, we moved offices sort of 5 times. And, actually Cubit were able to kind of see us through that seamlessly, which was brilliant. And, obviously every time the complexities got bigger, but also the risk gets bigger. The true test of IT is when you don't have to think about it. You want your IT consultants to be seen and not heard, basically. Every now and then, they come, they update something, they fix something, but you don't have to worry about it. You just crack on, basically. And I think that to me has been 99% of the time, with Cubit, that's absolutely been the case. Very early on, we obviously have a lot of clients who deal with a lot of sensitive data, and therefore, their data processing requirements, long in advance of GDPR were always significant. The nice thing for us was just to be able to take those requirements to Cubit and say, guys, can you first of all just assure us that we meet all of this, and secondly, if we don't, tell us how we can meet these really quickly. Which they could do. That was a large part of our decision to use Box. Again, they were basically, something which is second nature to them, but would have taken me, 2 weeks and given me a nervous breakdown to figure out, they can just do. So in that sense, they've been a brilliant partner. They're responsive, and I think that's a really important point. I think they're flexible. Over the last 3 years, our sort of parent group IT have taken over responsibility for some aspects, and and Cubit have always known that ultimately they were going to be phased out. And again, they've known that that's not been our choice, but they've at no point have they kind of taken their bat and ball home, and they could have done, and there have been times, when they've had to bail people out and all the rest of it. But actually they've worked really flexibly as part of that process, which again, we really appreciate.